Level 1. Seminarian. You are 19 years old. You arrive with one suitcase and a letter of acceptance signed by a bishop you have never met. The seminary gates close behind you without ceremony. You are not clergy. You are potential. Your day begins at 5:30 a.m. A bell rings. You rise immediately. Morning prayer in a chapel that smells faintly of polish and incense. Silence at breakfast. Philosophy lectures by 8. Latin drills by 10. Theology in the afternoon. You learn the structure before you learn authority. You do not carry power. You carry expectations. Your housing is provided. Your tuition is subsidized. You receive no salary. The church invests in you, but it also evaluates you constantly. Faculty submit reports. Your spiritual director notes your temperament. Your obedience is measured in small things: punctuality, tone, posture. You are 19, but you are treated as unfinished. You begin to understand hierarchy in physical form. Priests enter rooms and conversations pause. The rector's decision is final. The bishop visits once a year and the entire building tightens in response. If you struggle academically, you are dismissed. If you display instability, you are dismissed. If you show resistance to authority, you are dismissed. No public explanation is required. You study celibacy as discipline, not romance. You practice speaking without ego. You are corrected frequently. You are praised rarely. At night, you sit on a narrow bed and wonder whether faith alone brought you here or whether you needed structure more than belief. Doubt is not rebellion yet. It is private. You are replaceable at this stage. Each year, dozens apply. Only some remain. The institution loses nothing if you leave. You are 19. You feel small inside stone walls that have outlived generations. And for the first time, you understand that entering this system means surrendering speed. Advancement here is measured in decades. Level 2. Priest. You are 29 years old. 10 years have passed inside formation. Philosophy became theology. Doubt became quieter. You lie prostrate on cathedral marble during ordination, aware that your 20s are gone and there is no reversal. When you stand, you can consecrate the Eucharist. You can absolve sins. Authority is no longer theoretical. You are assigned to a parish in a mid-sized town, a church built in the 1800s, a school struggling with enrollment. You live in a rectory with 2 older priests who have served longer than you have been alive. Your mornings begin with Mass at 6:30. You preach carefully. Parishioners watch you measure your words. By mid-morning, you are reviewing invoices for roof repairs and signing checks from parish accounts. The funds are not yours, but your signature moves them. You receive a modest salary now, enough for clothing, small personal expenses, modest savings, housing and utilities are covered. Stability replaces uncertainty. You hear confessions weekly. People kneel and whisper, marriages collapsing, debts mounting, private addictions. You respond with calm phrases you practiced in seminary. At 29, you are still young enough to feel the weight of every story. You are no longer disposable like a seminarian. Removing a priest requires process, but you are still movable. The bishop can transfer you at any time. A complaint can trigger review. A misstep during a homily can circulate quickly. Routine shapes you. Baptisms on Saturday. Funerals on Tuesday. Hospital visits at night. Parish council meetings once a month. You begin to understand that the church survives through repetition more than inspiration. You are 29. Your peers from childhood have families, mortgages, different forms of security. You have institutional protection instead. In exchange, you surrender autonomy. You notice that your sermons are becoming less experimental. You choose stability over risk. You speak less about abstract theology and more about maintaining unity. Authority at this level is intimate but limited. Within your parish, your word organizes schedules, finances, and rituals. Beyond it, you remain subordinate. You are beginning to see how the system functions from inside, and you are beginning to adapt to it. Level 3. Bishop. You are 48 years old. The call from Rome comes without warning. You are told the Holy Father has appointed you bishop of a diocese 2 states away. You accept publicly within hours. At 48, refusal would be read as disobedience. Your ordination as bishop is ceremonial but decisive. Hands are laid upon you again. You receive a ring and a crozier. When you enter your cathedral for the first time, priests stand as you process down the aisle. You no longer manage a single parish. You govern nearly 100. Every priest in your diocese now reports to you. Their assignments, evaluations, and discipline move through your office. Your income increases, though not extravagantly. A residence near the cathedral is provided. Staff handle scheduling. A driver appears for formal events. The scale of your responsibility expands beyond personal contact. Your days are filled with meetings. Legal counsel briefs you on pending lawsuits. Finance officers present diocesan investment summaries. Seminary rectors recommend candidates for ordination. You approve or delay. You rarely hear individual confessions now. Instead, you review reports. A priest accused of misconduct, a parish facing bankruptcy, a school requesting closure. The decisions no longer involve single families. They affect entire communities. At 48, you are less reactive than you were at 29. You have learned restraint. Every statement you make can travel beyond the diocese. Journalists request interviews. Civic leaders request alignment on policy issues. The moral questions become less personal and more administrative. You read case summaries rather than hearing stories directly. You weigh credibility, risk, cost, precedent. You begin to understand how institutional language softens impact. A removal becomes a reassignment. A closure becomes a restructuring. You tell yourself stability requires discretion. Your authority feels significant, yet it remains bounded. The apostolic nuncio monitors your governance. Rome can request clarification. Your performance is noted in reports you never see. At 48, ambition is quieter but more strategic. You recognize that visibility increases influence. Successful management of your diocese may position you for greater responsibility. You walk through the cathedral at night. The building no longer feels like a parish. It feels like a jurisdiction. You are no longer young. You do not act quickly. You act carefully. Level 4. Cardinal. You are 62 years old. The announcement is made at noon from a window in Rome. Your name is spoken in Latin, among others. Within weeks, you are given red vestments and assigned a titular church in the city. At 62, you understand that this is not a promotion in the corporate sense. It is absorption into a smaller circle. You either remain archbishop of your diocese or relocate to the Vatican to head a dicastery. In either case, your jurisdiction changes scale. You no longer supervise priests directly. You influence bishops. Your housing, staff, and travel increase. You move through airports with diplomatic courtesy. You meet heads of state. You sit in conference rooms where draft documents shape doctrine for millions. Your income does not reflect your influence. The church maintains modest compensation. What increases is access. You attend closed sessions where policies are debated before public release. You read reports from continents you have never visited. At 62, you no longer feel urgency in the way you did at 48. You think in terms of decades. Which appointments will stabilize the church? Which statements will preserve unity? Alliances form quietly among cardinals. Some prioritize reform, others prioritize continuity. You speak carefully in private meetings. Influence here depends on trust and patience. You are aware that if a pope dies or resigns before you turn 80, you will enter a conclave. You will cast a vote that shapes the future of the institution. Your authority is indirect. You rarely issue commands. You recommend, you advise, you delay. A single objection in a drafting session can alter a document that will define practice worldwide. At this age, you are less concerned with personal advancement and more with legacy. You think about how history will interpret this period. The church now feels less like a collection of parishes and more like a global organism requiring balance. You are insulated from ordinary parish life. You do not hear hospital confessions at midnight. You read summaries prepared by aides. Your decisions travel farther than your presence. Level 5, Pope. You are 74 years old. The conclave doors close behind you as a cardinal. They reopen with white smoke rising above the Sistine Chapel. Your name is announced. You step onto the balcony not as a participant in governance, but as its center. At 74, you have spent more than 5 decades inside the system. You no longer feel the uncertainty of 19, the urgency of 29, or even the strategic patience of 62. You feel weight. You choose a papal name. It signals continuity or change before you speak a single sentence. Your residence is modest by preference, but the machinery surrounding you is not. Each morning, dossiers are placed before you. Diplomatic reports from nuncios. Financial summaries from Vatican offices. Doctrinal disputes requiring clarification. You read them slowly. Your signature now binds globally. You appoint bishops across continents. You approve or deny removals. You authorize investigations. You establish commissions. You meet presidents and prime ministers who treat you as both religious leader and head of state. Your income remains modest. Your authority is not tied to wealth. It is tied to structure. You govern both a church and a sovereign entity. You are insulated from direct parish life. Security precedes you. Schedules are curated. Even private prayer happens within layers of protocol. When scandals surface, they reach you distilled into memoranda. When crises erupt, your words are requested within hours. A single phrase from you can stabilize or destabilize entire regions of the church. At 74, you are aware of time differently. You know the average papacy length. You understand that your appointments may outlast you, so you think about succession indirectly. You appoint cardinals who reflect your vision. Over years, the college shifts. You rarely intervene in small matters. Your authority operates through delegation. The system runs daily without you speaking. But when you do speak, it becomes doctrine, policy, precedent. At night, you walk through corridors lined with portraits of men who once held this office. They were once 74 too. They signed documents believing they were decisive. The institution continued. Your power is supreme within its bounds. Yet you are aware that even this role is temporary inside something designed to endure.